Yo, what's going on, GBA fans? I'm Ben, joined as always by my co-host. Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Melantosh here.
And we're here to bring you all the power rankings for Week 4 of GBA Season 9. So, we can just hop right in by talking about both of our number 16s of Deathly. There were a few points in this game where Tom just kind of sent in his Coco and there was nothing Deathly could do about it. All of his electric resists are weak to Fairy except for the Magnezone, which can't really do much back. And I feel like Deathly didn't lose this game in his play per se, but rather he lost at just the matchup. He mentioned a couple of times that he regretted not bringing Flygon as that gave him an electric immunity, but that's not going to be a reliable Coco check. Like, all of this was just made worse when Tom got his rocks up. So, like, Deathly's 3 rock weaknesses would just be punished on the switch. And he did have the opportunity to defog them away with the Finny on the Scizor. And it's easy to say that it was his play in hindsight, but even at the time, I don't really see how taunting the Scizor would really gain him anything. Like, if Tom went for the Swords Dance there, he could have just gone into his full health Volcarona or his Aggron to very easily check that. If he didn't click SD, boom, rocks are gone for the time being. Everything is sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he mentioned at the beginning of his match that he doesn't build his own teams just because he's super busy. So maybe he should take a bit more time into looking into the teams. I don't know if his front office leave like a description about reading what the team does and what each mon does for the team. But if it's something that you need to know, otherwise it can be very hard to use a team for the first time when you haven't really got in your mind what the team is purposing or what the win con is or how you want to win the game is. So sometimes that can be really hard. He also just sacked Aggron for seemingly no reason in this game, and
He needed a sack.
Sorry?
He needed a sack because he doesn't have a switch in.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's true. Yeah, it seemed, but it just like I think, well, that's kind of like what you were saying though. That's kind of in prep. Like, I don't think he should have had to sack that early on.
Yeah.
And I think he really should consider making transactions, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's got 3 transactions. He's now 0-4. So I really think it's time to take a look and see how he can improve the team and make some transactions.
Yeah, particularly those speed tiers, because I'm pretty sure Coco was able to run Modest this week. I don't think Tom
Yeah.
has uploaded his side of the game yet, but like Modest Life Orb Coco, man, just rips Deathly's team to shreds.
Yeah.
He brought an AV Kyurem that would still get easily 2-code by Dazzling Gleam.
Yep.
And in terms of what else he could have done, I'm thinking his best bet would have been to bring some sort of bulky Magnezone that could like slow Volt Switch out on the Coco. Like, it's definitely not the best Coco check in the world, but I think it's really the only option he had.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have run like Analytic instead of Magnapul so he could get off more damage on the switch.
I still don't know really how he beats Lucario though.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Basically, I feel like he didn't lose the game in his play per se. Again, I think he just lost at matchup.
yeah, but it's really hard to prep with that kind of team. I don't know, maybe Kolber Goth or something, but even then that doesn't Oko. He did have Kolber Goth, I think, but that doesn't Oko the Lucario, so it's like, yeah, really hard team to work with.
Yeah, and in terms of his like performance, he kind of just sealed his own coffin by clicking Double Edge with the Scarfster Raptor.
Yeah, and they're just allowing the Lucario to come in for free. Yeah. Should we move on?
Yeah, we move on to both of our number 15s in Kyle.
First thing for Carl is he mentioned that he's having some problems with his hearing. So I just wanted to say, like, I wish you the best of luck with that, man, and hopefully everything gets better soon. But other than that, I don't think he made any big mistakes. I think he lost in prep, to be honest. And Asta played this game really, really well and prepped really, really well, in my opinion. And yeah, other than that, I don't think there's that many talking points from the match. I just felt he lost in matchup, and also I mocked Asta for this match, and Carl had a bad matchup, I think. To be completely honest with you, I did not like building for Asta's team with Carl's team. So other than that, no, like I couldn't see any major problems. Water Spout Blastoise was actually really cool. I enjoyed seeing that. But I'll let you say what you want to say about Carl.
All right. Yeah, I do agree that there's not too much to say. I mean, I guess he did play the game a little bit passively. He wasn't making a lot of reads. He just kind of attacked what was in front of him for the most part. Like, for example, when he sent in his Blaziken on Astra's Mega Mawile, he just clicked Flare Blitz when Astra had the free switch into Salamence. Granted, I don't think he had Stone Edge on that set.
I don't know. Astra was Charty Berry though, I think.
Yeah, Astra was Charty Berry for that. So, yeah, like you said, I think it was more so Astra out-prepping and out-playing than Kyle playing badly.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think Kyle was like super bad or even prepped like badly. I think it was just that Astra was better, to be honest, this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now I guess we can just kind of move on.
Yeah, for sure.
Both of our number 14s.
Both of our number 14s in Danza. Why didn't you take Danza?
All right. So it's kind of hard to rank Danza this week since he didn't upload his out of the game yet. Some of his plays seemed a bit questionable. Maybe he had good reasoning for them, but he did play pretty aggressively in this game, and he did keep it somewhat close. So as much as I'd like to rank him higher, I think he has to be my number 14 this week again. Like, I think he's a great player, but I've said this time and time again, his team is just really holding him back this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. To be honest with you, I nearly had him at number 15. And he seemed to randomly sack Lucha versus the, what's it called, Marshadow, when he had Heatran, which he switched out, but then it died to rocks. So he should have just sacked Heatran and then gone Holucha if he wanted to, or then gone into the thing that beats the Marshadow. But he just randomly sacked his Holucha. I didn't really understand, and like you said, I didn't see his upload because he hasn't uploaded at the time we're recording. But I'm not sure why he brought the defensive Lucha this match. I'm not sure what its purpose was. I'm not sure what it really beat on Leo's team. Maybe it was for Snorlax and it was Limber, so it couldn't get Body Slam paralysis. I'm not sure, but that seems pretty niche. I feel like a normal Holucha would be able to do that well. On the positive side, which is why I did have him a bit higher than Carl, is he made some decent plays when he was U-turning around. He read Leo okay. And then he got a tad unlucky at the end, but it was nothing really big. And Leo made a pretty risky play with his Snorlax, I think, and Danza could have killed it, or it was a roll, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. So that is why I have him above Carl this week, because I felt he got a tad unlucky. But other than that, don't have much to say. Like I said, he didn't upload, so... Yeah.
I guess we can just kind of move on then.
Yeah, for sure. To both of our number 13s, right?
Yeah, Nexus.
In Nexus. Shall I take Nexus?
Sure, go for it.
So it's pretty much same old with Nexus. He played decently, but he lost in prep. I think every time he's lost, I felt like he lost in prep.
100%.
And he always plays decently. I mean, so far, he hasn't made a play that hasn't... I mean, okay, obviously that was the play versus Danza, but he hasn't made a play that hasn't worked for him, if you get what I'm saying. So I can't really knock him too much. If it's always working, then keep going with it, to be honest with you. But he just got completely stunted on. Okay. MV was, like, outrageous. Like, I mean, we'll get to MV when we get to him, but this was, like, classic, just absolutely MV stunting so hard. And I think that Zai Daddy form is the worst Ubermon, because it's quite hard to get it to 100%, and even when you get it to 100%, it's never at full health. So for that reason, I think that it's probably, and you can't have Z moves, and Zygarde is so much easier to check if it's not Z. So I think it's the worst Ubersmon. Just putting it out there. People are going to hate me for that. They're going to probably just, because I don't know too much about it. So it's quite a bold statement, but I'm going with it. I'm rocking out with it.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And like you were saying, I definitely agree that Nexus has kind of just been losing his games in prep. Like, similarly to Danza, his team's a little less than ideal. He's only got one remover, one rocker. But yeah, like you were saying, MV he just played right into MV's hands, man.
I mean, that triple switch. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to ND, but
that was awesome.
It's just so nice. Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah, we can move on.
Let's go to your 12 and my 11.
Of Tup.
Of Tup, yeah.
Alright, let me just sum up this game. Oof. Ladies and gentlemen of the GBA, we have witnessed our first 6-0 of the season. Similarly to Nexus, I think this game wasn't really a matter of Tup prepping or playing particularly poorly. It was really just Jolt prepping and playing perfectly, and Tup's performance was honestly okay, I feel. But yeah, like we were just saying about Nexus and Envy, Tup played right into Jolt's hands, and I really don't see much else he could have done to potentially win this game.
I slightly disagree with you.
Okay.
Just because, okay, I don't disagree. Jolt was just outrageously good this match. But I think there were quite a lot of things that Tup could have done. Partly in prep, Latias and Zero Aura both had really good speed tiers against Jolt's team. And I really felt like they were pretty much must brings for, and I think actually Jolt said it in his team builder. He was like, I'm really sure he's bringing those because they're super good against his team. Zero gets grass not for Groudon, and Groudon is a heavy boy. That boy be going to McDonald's. And so that was in prep. He also had a chance to get up rocks, which would have quite helped him versus Groudon, and he didn't. And also the Coil Milotic set just made no sense. I get it could have been good if Jolt didn't bring Manaphy. But Manaphy's was so good in this matchup. It's like you can't expect your opponent not to bring a Mon that's really good in the matchup. And it had Hydro Pump, and it was either Ice Beam or Blizzard. And I didn't see the reason for having Hydro Pump. If you want damage, go for Surf. You're a Milotic, you're going to be bulky. Especially with Coil, you're going to be bulky. You want to have a lot of PP on a move like that, especially if you want to be around for a long period of time. So I just didn't. I didn't like the Milotic set, especially just allowing Manaphy to set up completely for free. Could have had like Dragon Tail or Haze or one of those kind of phasing moves. Instead, would have been a much nicer bring, I think.
Yeah, Haze. Haze in particular, because Magirna.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Very good point. Yeah. For Magirna, yeah, Haze in particular for sure. And this is the second week in a row that Tup he like read the HP bar wrong, and in my opinion both times it was quite clear. So I guess my advice for that would be just to take a bit more time and notice the amount of HP that goes down. I know if you have a capture card, you are at an advantage because you can use Asta's HP bar, which is absolutely, since Asta's been in the D League, that is spread to like literally the whole of the draft league format. It's been crazy. And he said that he felt like, or I got the impression from his commentary that he started getting tilted in the game a bit. And I think when you start getting tilted, especially in a league format, it's so easy to start playing like rashly and just click buttons and just not like stop thinking logically. So I think just take a step back from the game for as long as you can and take a few deep breaths, and then get back into the game. And if Tup wants to have a chance of making playoffs, he needs to win next week.
Very, very true.
Very true. Okay, that's all I got to say on Tup.
Okay.
But I do agree with you completely that Jolt was devastating this week. Jesus.
All right, so now we can move on to, well, this is kind of where our lists kind of
differ.
Yeah.
So my number 12 and your number 8.
Yeah, okay.
In Goldoa. Do you want to take Goldoa?
Sure thing. Goldoa is 1-3, and I have him at number 8. He played Randy this past week, and while he did lose, I think he prepped and played really, really well. His play was a little sloppy around the Yveltal, but like, it's a Life Orb Modest Yveltal. There aren't many Pokemon in the game that can handle that very well.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, hindsight is 2020 with clicking knockoff over U-turn with a Mega Beedrill in front of the Roserade. He didn't think Randy would have HP Fire, which makes enough sense to be fair, since at that point he had already revealed Spikes and Sludge Bomb. So if he has HP Fire, that means that he either doesn't have a move to hit Dialga, or he doesn't have Giga Drain. So at that point he found himself in a bit of a hole, since his Zapdos got hard-walled by the Hippowdon. His Superior's only move was Knockoff, or his only damaging move was Knockoff. And that just left him with 2 offensive Mons in Dialga and Lele. And he found himself needing a miracle to pull off the win, and he almost had it. It could be argued that Zapdos getting frozen made up for Metagross getting fully paralyzed twice in a row there at the end, but I think Goldoa had a decent shot to win that 1v1 regardless. If that happened, and then the game played out in the exact same way, I think Goldoa would have won. However, I looked at it for a while, and I realized that if Randy had just clicked recover at any point with P2, he would have just won the game with it right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to jump in on that point really quickly. Had Randy not got the freeze, there's a chance he wouldn't have, because he kind of sacked off the P2, right?
Yeah.
At the end. So there's a chance he wouldn't have just sacked off the P2, in which case, like if he goes P2 on Zapdos, he definitely recovers, and then P2 wins the game.
Yeah.
That's how I had it down in my head going, but that is like theory morning. So anyway, carry on.
Yeah, Goldoa's only real way to break the P2 at that point would to be, he would have had to get a discharge para with Zapdos, and then the P2 would have needed to get fully paralyzed like a few times in a row, and for Lele to be able to break it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think Randy was in a position to win the game with or without the freeze, but prior to that point in the game, I think both sides had prepped and played pretty well, and I think Goldoa has just been getting the living hell hacked out of him this season.
Yeah. Not gonna have any argument from me there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player, and I think he can bounce back. But I looked ahead at his schedule, and his non-divisional games are looking rough.
However, his division is like he's got a nice division.
Yeah, it's kind of subpar.
Yeah, like there's a lot of opportunity for players to make playoffs in that division.
Yeah, so I still think he has a chance. I think he can still make playoffs and win his division.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And you can tell when someone's 1-3 and their differential is 0, that often that something's not right there, because obviously he's been losing very close and won quite big. So
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, I literally just went to look at his division and I noticed it literally about 1 second ago. So
nice.
Okay, so Goldoa this game, you did mention that he didn't play ideally around the Yveltal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure why he didn't go Dialga on the Yveltal, because that is something that can switch in or at least scare out a Life Orb Yveltal, and then you still have a full HP Ditto in the back. But instead he ends up, I mean, it seemed to me like in his commentary he was going in with the intention of hoping for hacks versus the Yveltal with his Ditto. And like with the season he's been having, I definitely would not recommend going for hacks. Like he's had awful luck this season, so I thought that was a tiny bit unfortunate. The one thing I was super impressed by is how well he predicted Randy's team and the way he dissected how Randy was winning his games and how he wanted to beat Randy. For example, he predicted that Randy was going to bring the spikes the spikes rose, and he taunted it perfectly. And I just thought that whole play was really, really impressive. I do think he should have went Beedrill. God, my mouth. I don't know what's going on here. He should have flicked U-turn over Knock. I know you said that it's 2020, but Knock was win-lose. If he switches out, then it's a win and he gets a knockoff. And if he stays in, it's a lose because the Beedrill goes down. Whereas U-turn kills the Roserade and it gives him momentum if he does switch out. So U-turn is kind of a win-win in that situation. So I do feel like U-turn was the slightly better play there. And then I don't know really why he went. He sacked Beedrill to the Hidden Power Rock, I believe it was.
Okay, might have been.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and I just don't know why he didn't go Dialga there. Like, Dialga definitely choose a Hidden Power Fire if that's what he's expecting, and Dialga is a huge threat. I felt like Goldoa had quite a lot of opportunities to bring in Dialga, as it's such a big offensive breaker, and I feel like he missed them this game. The other thing is I did feel a bit sorry for him because he tried to catch Randy with some reads this game, and I can completely understand why he made the plays, and Randy just sort of stayed in and it kind of screwed him over a bit. So I do feel a bit unfortunate for him there. But other than that I think that those are the reasons why I've got Godo a bit lower than you, and a bit like you said in week 1. At the end of the day, he's 1-3, and some of these other teams are 2-2.
Yeah.
Although Goldo could be much higher with 1-3 without hacks. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay, should we move on
Sure thing.
to your number 11 and my number 9? Innate.
If this Sylveon ends up winning, I will admit that I don't deserve this win. Analysts, if you're watching this, you can bump me down on the power rankings.
I mean, Hacks is a win con, and that was all skill, but whatever you say, Chief. Oh boy, this game.
Oh yeah, this game.
Yeah. So, I think we can kind of talk about both Nate and Necro at the same time here.
Okay.
So, let's just start by addressing the elephant in the room. Those back-to-back Stone Edge misses. For starters,
Didn't he miss like 4?
I think he only missed
total?
2.
Oh, he missed 2. Okay. I thought it was 2 in a row, but he missed like 3 or 4. Anyway, carry on.
For starters, I think Nate should really start bringing Whirlwind on Skarmory, since otherwise it just kind of becomes setup fodder for mons like the Lando and Barbaracle, as we saw this week.
Yep.
When Lando came in on the Scarf Naganadel, when
Yep,
Lando
you
came
got it.
in on the Scarf
got it.
thing, the thing was locked into Sludge Wave, and of course Nate had to switch it out, and Skarmory is basically his only lander to switch in. So Necro sets up a Rock Polish, and Nate's priority is to defog away the webs. I don't think that was the right call in this scenario. Yeah, webs are definitely annoying for the rest of the team, but at the moment, I think Nate's biggest concern should have been the +2 Landorus. And when he defogged on the Z move, Necro saw that it likely didn't have Whirlwind, otherwise he would have clicked it there. And at that point, he could just kind of go for game by setting up a Swords Dance, and he basically would have won right there if Stone Edge didn't miss twice like that. But, I mean, it is 80% accurate, so 4% of the time, Nate doesn't lose to the Landorus, as we saw happen.
Yeah, and the only chance Nate had is intimidating Arcanine and getting Lando back to neutral so that one of his mons could take a hit.
Yeah.
That was the only option he had. But like you said, I think Necro would have won the game had that happen. Oh wait, we're supposed to talk about Nate. We're talking about both of them together, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on Necro, he, we've seen it in previous weeks as well. I felt like he's been setting up too early, because had the Scum of had Whirlwind, then he would have just set up completely pointlessly. You know what I mean? And also the Barbaracle doesn't outspeed Scarf Purple Stingy, so so I just felt it was too early in the game to set up on. Definitely, maybe the first time with Lando is okay, because if he gets Whirlwind out, it's not the end of the world. Whereas he has a chance to win the game if Nate doesn't have Whirlwind, which hasn't been bringing. But going in with Barbaracle, I think that was a mistake. Maybe he was slightly tilted as he had just, been hacked to death, pretty much. But other than that, we have seen him set up a bit early, so I think that he needs to stop setting up so early. But like you said, he probably should have won this game completely. Okay, I'm going to let you talk a bit about Nate now. Otherwise, I can ramble about Nate. But
All right, well, I do want to talk about Necro going Barbaracle there. So, Necro knew that Skarmory was set up fodder, so he could just go straight into Barbaracle, click Shell Smash, and he could kind of win the game that way instead. But I think this is where he misplays, because like you said, he needed 2 Shell Smashes to be able to outspeed the Scarf Naganadel, and when Nate clicked Roost, that would have been the perfect opportunity to set up that second Shell Smash. Like, Skarmory is the perfect setup fodder. Necro knew that already.
yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I believe that he would have won the game right there 100% of the time, since Skarmory's Brave Bird would never have been able to kill Barbaracle in one hit, and this time Necro didn't have to rely on Stone Edge, because +4 Tough Claws boosted Liquidation would have basically just one-hit KO'd everything at that point anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but instead he just kills the Skarmory and lets the Naganadel outspeed him. Of course, this really kills Barbaracle's shot at sweeping, but he still has a chance to win from there. Unfortunately, the minus Spadef nature on Barbarical, well, I'm not sure if he was a mixed attacker or if maybe he just didn't have the right nature while breeding and had to settle for less than perfect. My guess would be the former since Everstones exist, but I digress. For those reasons, it's hard to say the exact odds, but I think Barbarical definitely had a chance to live a Draco Meteor. I'd estimate it was about a 50-50, and at that point in the game, I think Necro would have had to take those odds. And we then saw that Nate clicked Thunderbolt instead, which was slightly less powerful than Draco Meteor. Again, hard to say exactly how much it would have done, but I think it was a roll heavily in Necro's favor. So if he had just stayed in and killed the Meganodel, the only thing on Nate's team that could live a hit would be the Sylveon, and even so, a +2 liquidation would be doing like 75 to 89 of Sylveon's health, and it definitely would have made it so that it couldn't sweep in the late game. So to conclude, the Stone Age misses definitely sucked, but Necro still had a good shot at winning that game after Landorus went down. He just wasn't quite able to pull it off. I still have Necro above Nate. What?
Do you think you should have stayed in with Barbarical then, just to take the risk? Versus Nagandi Gel. I said that so wrong. I didn't even mean to.
I mean, what else would he really been able to... What else would he have really been able to set up in front of, though?
Yeah, but he switched out the Barbarical on Naga after he got up his Shell Smash, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he should have stayed in, right?
Yeah, I think he should have stayed in and risked the roll.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, agreed, yeah, completely. Okay, so on Nate, I don't think we touched on Nate too much. A small point is that I like it when coaches show nerves before a match. One, it makes it seem like they actually care about the league, and two, I think, well, I know for me it helps me play better. So I like to see that. Not really that important. Also, the game wasn't over if he lands the Stone Edges. Like I said before, he can go Arcanine and get the Intimidate. But if Necro makes a play and goes for another SD on the Arcanine, then the game is definitely over. But he has a small chance to live a hit. I believe there was a point when Nate went for Focus Blast on the Hydra switch, and if he predicting the Hydreigon to switch in, but if he had gone Hydreigon, then Sylveon basically always walls. So there was no point in really making the prediction, to be honest. And then he starts to get Calm Minds off, which, as we saw, won him the game in the end. So yeah, that's basically it. With Nate, Calm Mind Sylveon was a good bring. Like you said, I think if he'd brought Whirlwind Skarmory, he had a pretty good chance to win this game.
I mean, he did win the game, but just for
reasons. Sorry, he obviously did win the game, but had the hacks not happened and he brought Whirlwind Skarmory, I think he might have won. So
exactly.
But at the end of the day, a win's a win. But definitely his opponent got unfortunate. Yeah.
So that's why I still have Necro above Nate, because I think he did prep and play better. But
me too. I have Necro above Nate as well.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So shall we move on to mine? Both of our number 10s.
In Tom.
And Tom. Yeah. And Tom. So I don't think Tom's uploaded his side, has he?
I don't think he has. No.
So one thing I have to say about Tom is. Last week I said that he looked uncomfortable with Mega Lucario, and then it gets 5 kills this week, so I kind of had to eat my own words there. Sorry, Tom, I was wrong. You were right. It looks like he learned from his mistakes against Necro, as he set up the second SD, which was really nice. He played the game well. I felt like his prep just carried him this game, and Lucario was just dominant, so that's all I really have to say.
Ironically, I don't think he actually needed to set up the second SD in this game.
Oh, did he not?
I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure he would have been able to 2-hit KO the Gothitelle regardless, and he had, I believe, Rock Slide for the Volcarona.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So shall we move on?
Yeah, sure.
So we're taking a bit of a big jump now to your number 7. Wow, yeah. You're number 7. We've done Necro, we've done Golda, we've done, Nate. Okay, cool. So you're number 7 in Aster, and Aster is my number 5.
It's kind of a shame to have to put Aster number 7 when I feel he just prepped and played really, really well this week. Like, he saw that Mega Mawile just kind of tore Kyle's team apart. He brought a bulky Salamence to help check the mons like Excadrill and Blaziken that would, of course, force Mawile out. And he brought the Sash, Trick Room, Reuniclus as an emergency button for mons like Blaziken if anything got out of hand. But I feel like I have to put him at number 7 just because, well, combination of he played my number 15 and also because I felt like I couldn't justify putting him above my top 6, and we'll get to them in a minute, but...
Yeah, it's more so that, I mean, I've got him at 5, but it's more so that the top 4 for me just were played so well this week. And it's the same, I've got Aaron at number 6, and it's the same. It's just I felt like the other 5 people were so good. It's not that Aaron played badly at all. So
Exactly.
Going in to Asta, he had a slight oversight with Lunala, which he completely admitted himself, is that he run Dazzling Gleam, but it gets Moonblast. But those things happen. I thought, like you mentioned, Bulky Salamence was great prep. Reuniclus was really great prep, and he kept a clear game mind and plan for the whole match. That he was going to win with his Trick Room with Reuniclus. And like, I love seeing game plans. I think if you have a game plan in mind and you're playing for that end game from the get-go, it really helps teams to play well. And this is the second week where he's had to face a bit of hacks and still won, and that is why I have him higher than Aaron. So really good job, Asta. I thought he's been playing really well these last few weeks.
All right, one thing to say about that: did you just say he had a clear game mind and plan?
Oh, did I? And he kept a clear game mind and plan. Clear game mind and plan. Classic. My brain is completely frazzled. Oh my god. He had a clear game plan in mind. Is what I meant to say.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Awesome. The people knew what I meant. Okay,
right.
Shall we move on to my number 7 and your number 6 in MV?
Sure thing.
So we can see this week that Soul Silver MV is definitely better than Heart Gold MV.
Absolutely.
With that new gear over the Ho-Oh. And oh god, I loved watching this game. It was so much fun to watch from MV's side. Like it's just like MV has this like talent for being able to stunt on people, and it always works. And if you could say that if he's doing it on the ladder that he's like just recording it, and then when it goes well, he's just putting it online. But he only gets one shot at the league matches, and he does it in his league matches. So it has to be a talent of his just to be able to like unbelievably predict his opponent. I think it's so cool to watch. And his turn 1 play was extremely ballsy, but it paid off really well. The calm mind that he got from it with the Raikou, just like predicting, he just knew that it was Zoroark. Envy just knows. He just knows, and then get the Psychium Z off the Venusaur. Super clean, super clean. I think Envy might be the best Alolan Muck user in format. He uses that thing just so well. Not that it did like loads this game, just he always brings it and he always does really well with it. So but definitely the highlight of the match, I'm sure you'll agree, was his triple switch. So Envy, what he goes, and correct me if I'm wrong, he goes Giratina on Celesteela on the triple switch.
Yeah.
That's just outrageous. And then he's able, like we were saying the other day, like Lars brought Sapsipper Azumarill and just like opened his third eye. Envy had like 1,000 eyes this game. It was really good. And also, offensive Giratina is definitely the play. Definitely better than bulky Defog. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about Envy.
Like, Envy's performance this week, it was just so much better than his rank would otherwise suggest. Like, I had such an impossible time trying to rank the Kojus from 2 to 6, and...
Me too.
They've just been playing so well. I felt like I had to rank Envy at the bottom of those solely because, like, he's only just bouncing back from a rocky start. But he is, like, absolutely a top-tier threat right now. He blew Nexus out of the water. He used, like, that Calm Mind Psychium Z Raikou to bait it and then bop the Mega Venusaur. He got unlucky with the roll and the crit, but then proceeded to, like, just run circles around Nexus with all of his aggressive switching, chipping down what he needed to chip, and then getting Giratina in against the Celesteela on the triple switch, setting up a sub, and then just clicking Calm Mind and cleaning the game from there. Yeah. truly an incredible performance from MB this week.
Yeah,
Number 6,
definitely.
yeah, number 6 maybe towards the middle of the pack, but he's like arguably the best player in the GBA right now.
Yeah, arguably. Yeah. Well, it's MV, man.
Yeah.
He's very good at this game.
Remember that one point when we had him at like what 9 and 8,
9,
or something
10,
like that? 9
and even
10.
you just know that eventually he's going to move up. Even now, I feel like he like, I've got him at 7, but I just felt like because he's 2 and 2, I put him at the highest 2 and 2 possible. So because he's 2 and 2, I put him below Aaron and Asta. But
Just give him a few weeks.
just give him a few weeks. Don't worry, guys. He'll be stunting on some more people soon enough. Okay,
Alright.
so let's move on to my number 6
Yeah.
and your number 5 in Aaron. Why don't you go ahead and take Aaron?
All right. Aaron is 3 and 1. He just suffered his first loss of the season due to a hypnosis miss to the guy who, spoiler alert, is number 1 on our power rankings again this week.
Oh wait, can I pause you right there?
Go for it.
There's something I have to do, and it's very important to me before we talk about Aaron.
Okay.
Aaron, shiny Rayquaza, please. Carry on.
Okay. So yeah, I have Aaron at number 5, even though he only just lost his first game all season. But like I said with Envy, I had to put these guys somewhere, and I felt I should put Aaron at number 5 because I feel like he could have done a few things differently to beat Lars. So after killing the Lycanroc with his +1/+1 Rayquaza, Jirachi just came out on the other side of the field, and at that point he had to know that Jirachi was either scarfed or it was like really bulky, and either way, I feel he had a pretty free switch into Aegislash there. Like Lars was in a position to where he had to attack what was in front of him. He couldn't risk Rayquaza getting like out of hand.
Couldn't agree more. Yep.
Yeah, so he would maybe click like Ice Punch or Thunder Wave. Either way, Aegislash doesn't really mind taking those, and he can just keep up the momentum while also preserving his stash on Rayquaza. But instead, he just stays in and goes for the Earthquake on the Scarf Jirachi's Ice Punch. Of course, he always lives with the sash, but then Rayquaza is basically useless at that point, being in range of King Killer's Mach Punch. He did preserve it, and it did at least pressure the Landorus in the late game, but because he had the sash intact after killing Lycanroc, I think he could have preserved it to clean in the late game. But to be fair, anyone in his shoes at the time would have undoubtedly been tempted to click the shiny super effective button with their +1/+1 Rayquaza.
Yep.
Yeah, but otherwise, I think he played a great game, and that hypnosis miss at the end sucked, but it's just the game we play, and I definitely expect Aaron to bounce back in the next few weeks.
Definitely, and like you said, like he played both of our number 1s. Lars has been playing really, really well, and he actually had a 60% chance to win the game. You know, it's not ideal. You don't really want to put yourself in a position where it's a 60% chance to win the game, but at the end of the day, it was in his favor. Although, actually thinking about it, sorry, it's slightly under 60% because there is a chance Lars wakes up first turn.
Yeah, I think that's 10%?
Is it?
I think?
Because I looked online, and to be honest, I couldn't get a clear answer. So this might be from a different generation or something. Someone in the comment section can let me know if I'm wrong. But I thought it was 33% chance each turn. And then on the third turn, guaranteed wake up. But at the same time, I feel like I would have had more first time wake ups if that was the case.
Yeah, same. Like, what?
Yeah, so I think it's more likely you're right. If someone could let us know in the comment section, that'd be great, because I actually tried to research it and I actually couldn't find it. So, like, it wasn't clear on Bulbapedia or stuff like that. So, sorry, that's a bit off topic. Like you said, I completely couldn't agree with your point more, that he needed to switch out with Rayquaza versus Rachi. It was a huge threat to Lars' team, and keeping it around would have been super nice. So, the reason I have Aaron below Asta is, and I made this point last week and I'm going to keep making it until it changes, it's the same 6 Mons coming, and it's very predictable. Every week, we are seeing the same 6 Mons. So he's brought 7 Mons in 4 weeks. People are going to start catching on to this, and he has to start bringing more diversity. But other than that, one small point, he said that he was a bit annoyed at the roll with Lop going down on EQ, but it dies to Mach Punch anyway, so actually didn't matter. And also, he has a capture card, and I feel like he could use Asta's HP bar that Asta made. I mean, I just said it spread the league, but it's like I've used it myself, and it's like just the best thing ever to happen to Wi-Fi battling. To be honest. So I don't think Aaron watches them, but if he does, then he can ask Asta or any other coach that's got it for that. Super hype game. The finish was so exciting. That's undeniable. It was really fun to watch the ending of that game against two really great players. So I'm sure Aaron will bounce back, like you said.
Yeah. And
Should we move on?
I just
carry
noticed
on.
something. A minute ago I said like the shiny super effective button and Rayquaza in the same sentence. Shiny Rayquaza. Someday.
Someday.
gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Aaron's gonna turn on. I might have to leave a comment on one of his. I actually saw someone comment bring shiny Rayquaza on his video, and I was like, yes, the minions have gone.
All right. Back to power rankings.
Yeah.
So I guess now we can move on to.
Your number 4 and my number 2 in Leo.
Okay. Leo played this game like really well. He brought an offensive team with 2 fallback walls for the Palkia and the Genesect, and he played it just like that. His only really questionable plays were letting his Snorlax get so weakened to the point where Danza could have killed it, but then Danza misplayed and went into Palkia.
Yeah.
And the other questionable play was going hard into Medicham on the Heatran predicting rocks. To be fair, Heatran was Danza's only potential rocker in that game, so the play makes enough sense in that regard, especially since clicking a fire move against a team with a full health Snorlax seems a little strange, but... and, you know, Medicham would have gained him a ton of momentum, so... I mean, maybe Danza predicted that? I don't know. Like we said, Danza's side hasn't gone up yet, so it's hard to say, but otherwise,
Yeah.
I'd say Leo played a really good game.
Agreed. I thought Leo played really solidly. I also agree he should have gone Cress on Palkia instead of like allowing Danza to basically would have killed his Snorlax, but ended up clicking the wrong move. He also clicked Dragonium Z with his Chomp when I felt like Florges was a quite an obvious switch in. But I mean it did work out for him. So I don't know, and Florges was Scarf, so it probably wouldn't have switched in, but I don't think Leo knew it at that point. So I was a bit iffy about that play, but Leo does have streaks where he plays very aggressive, and honestly, he does it quite well. So it could definitely be that Leo played very aggressively this game. And like I said, played really solidly. So that's why I have him at number 2. I felt like Leo just hasn't... I mean, he made a couple mistakes this game, but I feel like Randy, who is 4-0, who on standings would be ahead of him, I just feel like he's been making slightly more mistakes, even though he's been pulling out the wins. Don't get me wrong, Randy's been playing amazingly, and we'll get onto him in a bit, but I just feel like Leo's been playing that bit better, and I think he's lost to MV, who, like we were talking about before, is arguably playing like a 1 or 2 team at the moment, so I can't really knock him too much for that.
Yeah.
Cool. So shall we move on to your number 3 and my number 4 in Jolt?
Yeah, so Jolt got hacked out a bit with those body slam paras, full paras, people heads missing on the mill tank.
Still
But
6-0.
he just slapped Tup sideways. He played his Manaphy perfectly, he took full advantage of Shaman Sky's rock weakness, pivoted out into Goodra to force that out, thereby limiting its switch-ins to be the Manaphy check, and also to help check the Groudon. I don't even know what else to say about this game. Jolt just... yeah, he just slapped him sideways.
I literally have those exact words written in I have a bullet point saying, not much to say, congrats, Jolt. like legit, he got unlucky and still 6-0'd his opponent. Magearna is such a good Pokemon, and I'm going to reiterate your point that like Magearna is a good Pokemon, but when used by someone who's really good at prepping, like Jolt, it becomes amazing. And Jolt is really, really proving that point for you this season. Magearna is a menace. It played a huge role in this match. But yeah, Jolt, well done, man.
That
Should
was
we
a
move on?
game that happened. Yeah, sure, we can move on now.
That was a game that happened, and our rankings happened just as quickly as the game did. So let's move on to my number 3 and your number 2
Yep. Randy.
in Randy. Okay.
I love Randy's team. It's so
Oh.
good.
It's so good, yeah, completely agree.
Goldoa had to think outside the box and prep, and he still wasn't able to beat this insane team. Like we talked about before, the freeze on Zapdos I don't think really mattered, because if Randy had just gotten the free switch into his P2, he could just recover up on either the Zapdos or the Lele and just win the game like that.
Yeah, assuming Randy makes the right plays, it
Yeah.
didn't matter.
Yeah. And all Goldoa could have done was fish for the discharge paras.
Yeah.
But Yeah, as long as
And we all
Randy.
know Gordo is luck this season.
Yeah. So as long as Randy continues to prep and play well, I can honestly see this team just carry him to the championship.
Me too.
It's so good.
Yep. I think I said, I hope I said, I meant to say it anyway, in week 0, that I thought Yveltal would be the best Ubersmon, and I think at the moment that's true.
I think Marshadow is still better.
Do you? Damn it.
Yes.
But yeah, you really see it compared with the top teams to the bottom teams that they all seem to have a decent game plan in mind. And Randy really had that this game. He executed it really well. He knew that his Yveltal had a very good chance of beating the Ditto due to having more HP. And Oblivion Wing being maybe the most broken move in the world. And like you said, the freeze really sucked, but I think he still would have won, as P2 always beats Zapdos 1v1. The only thing is Randy made a few kind of weird plays. Like he was in versus Lele with his P2, and he should have clicked recover like we've talked about, but he kind of just sacked the P2. Like P2 was his way of winning that game, and then he just ends up going ape and U-turning. But he just sacks, so he's in with Metagross and he just sacks P2 so he can U-turn with ape. But if he just sacks Metagross, he can go ape and U-turn into Porygon, or he can just go Porygon like he should have done, and he would have had the exact same result. So yeah, but Scarfed Ape still won the game. So I mean, if you find a way to win the game, just do it. Don't overthink it. And he did that, so can't complain too much. He's playing really well at the moment, and like you said, he is proving how good his team is. To be honest with you. Also, Randy normally plays very safe, but he played a bit more aggressive this game, which I like to see because it keeps your opponents honest, especially if they're watching. Like if you play an opponent like Lars, he watches you and he scouts you out. So I think it'll be super useful for that. You suck! Sorry about that. That should probably be cut out.
Take that one out of context.
Wait, could you hear the person shout?
A little bit.
Okay. If you can hear the person shout, I don't mind it being left in, but if it just sounds like I'm shouting, you suck at Randy, definitely not, because that's not how I meant it at all.
That was incredible.
So I think it'll be super useful for that. You suck!
So basically, Millen and I are both named Ben, but I actually go by that name online. I don't really like to be called Shiny or Sableye or anything like that. But yeah, so I have no idea who the hell that was or what the context was. Maybe Millen will explain in the comments or something, I don't know. But I'll just take this as a message from the Pokemon gods telling us both to shut up and move on. Okay,
Yeah.
but back to what you were saying a second ago with sacking the P2. Wasn't that what he did? Didn't he sack Metagross, go into Infernape, U-turn, sack P2, go back into Infernape and click Flare Blitz?
No, I think he went P2, sacked P2, went ape, U-turned, then went into Porygon and sacked it. That way. That's what I have in my notes, that he did it just a really weird way around. So instead of just letting the Metagross go down, he went Porygon to sack it first.
Alright, well, either way, I think...
Well, I mean, someone let me know if I'm right about that, but that is what I have written down, so... Hopefully I'm not crazy.
So either way, he would have had to sack those two Mons, Metagross and P2, for him to U-turn out and then kill with Flare Blitz.
Agreed.
So I guess his thinking there was, if Lele is Scarf, then Infernape still outspeeds. Like, Infernape will outspeed the Lele no matter what. So, and he knows that unless the Lele is particularly bulky, which wouldn't make a lot of sense, the U-turn into Flare Blitz should always kill. Whereas in case the Lele wasn't Scarf, but it was, like, I don't know, some item that made it not choice locked, and he had Focus Blast for the P2, then in that case P2 wouldn't have been able to 1v1 it. But
yeah, I guess, but like had you said that it wasn't Scarfed and it goes for sub against the Metagross, hoping for the para, and this is what I think happened, is then Randy switches into P2, to sack it, then it puts him in a bad situation.
Yeah, then when Inferno APU turns out, Goldoa can pretty freely click Substitute again.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he probably still would have won, to be honest, but it was just a very slight nitpick on my end.
If it had
And
sub, I think Goldoa
really
won that game. But yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think if he had sub, I think...
I think so. So
Well,
if he does sub, then Randy goes P2.
only if...
Then he lives the next hit. If he's sub Calm Mind, maybe.
Oh, yeah, sub Calm Mind probably would have won.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we move on?
All right, now we can move on to both of our number ones again. Lars. Yeah, Lars has proven this week that he is number one in the GBA right now. He played Aaron in a Battle of the Undefeated, and he had an outstanding performance. Aaron was forced to go Mamoswine on the Tangrowth early on in the game. Lars had mons like King Hilder, KB, Jirachi in the back, all of which could very easily switch in on Mamo's Icicle Crash, and especially with the Life Orb knocked off. But Aaron knows that, so Aaron wants to set rocks to keep that momentum. So Lars takes that opportunity to get off huge damage on the Mamoswine with the Tangrowth to make it much less of an issue later. Even if Aaron did go for the Icicle Crash, he would have lived for sure after that Life Orb got knocked off. Probably would have taken him maybe about half. Then he would have healed up basically all that damage with the Giga Drain, and he could switch back out and be at full. Boom! Tangrowth is basically at full, Mamoswine is out of commission. Then the terrifying Rayquaza comes in, and he deals with it in the best way that he possibly can. He goes into Lycanroc to prevent it from setting up 2 Dragon Dances. He clicks Stone Edge to prevent Aaron from getting aggressive. He goes into a Scarf Ice Punch Jirachi. That at the very least will always put Rayquaza in range of Kinkilder's Mach Punch, barring like Papa Berry or something weird like that. And just like that, he's found a way to deal with Aaron's most threatening mod. I see at the end of the game though, I think he might have choked. Like, this one is debatable. I was talking with a friend just like half an hour ago before we were recording. So like before, longer than half an hour, whatever. So basically, here's what we were thinking. So when Aaron sent in the Rayquaza on the Landorus, Lars knew that he was clicking Extreme Speed. Now, I could be mistaken, but I'm fairly certain that Lando lives 2 E-Speeds from that range, so that would have given him the opportunity to set up a Rock Polish and kill from there. And just, well, he would kill everything from there, he'd win the game. But instead, he made the play into Tangrowth to kill the Rayquaza with Rocky Helmet, which makes enough sense in the moment, as he wanted to save health on his win condition. He didn't want to risk Aaron making the ballsy play and clicking Dragon Ascent, although, actually, going Tangrowth on the Dragon Ascent, that would kind of just make it so that Kartana could clean. Well, regardless, it's easy for me to say after the fact, but... And I think it... Well, of course his play did work out in the end, but... See, I'm just wondering if he should have Rock Polished there.
Yeah, I just opened a quick calc while you're talking about it, and it seems that Extreme Speed from an Adamant Rayquaza does 36 to 43. I can't remember what HP Lars's Landorus was at.
I believe he had just switched in on rocks.
Okay, so it is a guaranteed 3-hit KO. It's not a 2-hit KO, so
Okay.
it would have lived. However, did Lars have Hidden Power Ice?
With Landorus?
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, the Rayquaza was on 1 HP.
Yeah, it was at like 9 HP actually.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
difference.
Yeah, so you're probably right then. If Landorus had only taken rocks damage, then it lives too.
Yeah, but at that point, Aaron was in a position to potentially make that Dragon Ascent play, predicting the Tangrowth to come in, but, I mean, if Aaron did click Dragon Ascent there, no matter which play Lars made, as long as he didn't go on the offensive with Landorus, which I don't think he should have ever done, just going straight on the offensive against the Rayquaza, because that would have put him in Kartana range with the speed. See, I think... In the moment, I think his play made sense, because he definitely wasn't expecting the Z Hypnosis Circuitry.
Yeah, which I think is... He was slightly under prep for that, which I have in my notes, but I'll get onto that in a second.
Yeah, so had Aaron clicked Dragon Ascent there, I don't know how much it would have done to the Tangrowth. Probably would have put it in range of Kartana. Yeah, wow, yeah. In fact, that was kind of a really crucial turn, the more I think about it.
Yeah, well... But I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what else Lars could have done. I think the Extreme Speed was was very obvious, because why else would Aaron have gone into his Rayquaza? Because
Yeah.
he went into the Rayquaza, right?
Yeah, he did go into the Rayquaza.
Aaron's plan, and correct me if I'm wrong, was to go into the Rayquaza, get the E-Speed off, and put it in Kartana range.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I don't remember him specifically saying that. He very well might have, but yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in which case, really crucial turn. If he makes a very big play and ballsy play there, potentially Kartana has a good chance of winning the game.
You know,
I'm not sure. Yeah, go on.
I think he would have needed the chip for Xurkitree's Dazzling Gleam, so I think it's hard to say what he would have done exactly, but I think one option would have been to get the E-Speed damage off on the Landorus, then...
But if he gets the E-Speed damage off on the Landorus, it dies to Tangrowth, because that's what the play Lars made.
Oh, yeah, so... And what was it?
Yeah.
Basically, I was just thinking that if he could make it so that the Lando was in range of Kartana, then he can go into Kartana after Lando kills the Rayquaza. Let's just say that Lars stayed in with his Lando. He could go into Kartana, then he could double into Xurkitree on the Tangrowth switch, click Z Hypnosis to outspeed the Landorus, and yeah, I think that probably would have been his best bet at that point. Really hard to say, Theory Moning.
Really hard to say, yeah. Lars was in a tough position because if he Dragon Ascents there, then he loses his check to Kartana, but if he E-Speeds, he loses a check to Xurkitree. So, kind of tough there.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about Lars's Lycanroc prep this game versus a Mega Lopunny team. It's a pretty standard lead to have Fake Out Lopunny, which would have broken the sash. However, Aaron had never, I checked all his previous games, and he'd never led Lot before, so I can see why Lars would have brought it, but just a thing to slightly consider there. But like you said, this was classic Lars playing really well against another 3-0 team. I do feel like he was a bit under-prepped for a +1 Xurkitree, so I really would have liked to see Deoxys over the Lycanroc. He could have brought exactly the same set with Sash. E-Speed would have been really good for Lopunny, for +1 Rayquaza and +1 Xurkitree. And I don't know, I don't think, I think it would have done a lot to all of those things, an adamant E-Speed from Deoxys. So I would have preferred to see that there over the Lycanroc, if I'm being honest with you guys. But other than that, Lars prepped really, really solidly, played solidly. And he deserved the win in my opinion, even though it was out of his favor. I do think he deserved to win this match, so congratulations, man. Still number one.
Indeed. And I look forward to seeing how far he can take this undefeated run.
Yeah, me too. Oh, I had a point I wanted to make.
Go for it.
Do you want to hear something really wild?
Absolutely.
One of Lars, Leo, and Envy is not making playoffs.
Is that how that works?
I think so. They're all in the same division.
See, I know that I'm not sure exactly how GBA works in terms of playoff seeding. I know that in some leagues, if you have like 3 really good players like that in the same division, they can all still advance to playoffs in theory.
So my understanding of the GBA, and I think it is so, 3 go through from each conference. So it's the top, I think it's the top 2 teams in each division. So in this Ultra Sun Conference, you have Ula Ula and Pony, which is, the Ula Ula has Lars, Leo, MV, and Kyle in it. Mm-hmm. So I think so as of right now, Lars would go through as the number 1 seed. The Pony division is Nate is at the head of it, so he would go through, and then the 3rd place is the next best team in either one of those divisions. So it would be Leo at 3-1, beating out Tup and MV. I think that's how it works.
Huh.
And then the first 2 seeds get buys, and the other 2 play it off.
Wow. Yeah, if that's the case, then that's wild.
Yeah. I know what you mean though, because some leagues do it like it's just the top 3 teams in the conference.
Yeah, like maybe like the first place in every division, and then like 2 wild cards per conference, something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure one of them isn't making playoffs. I wouldn't swear to it, but I'm pretty sure.
It's just so insane.
That's so insane, yeah. Like, literally 3 of the best teams in the league. Like, if Envy keeps winning, then it could be, like, 3 of the top 4 teams
Yeah.
that in that division.
All right. So on that note, I guess that's it for this week's power rankings.
Yeah. Have you got anything else to say?
Is this the part of the video where I'm supposed to say something like really dumb and?
I forgot about that. I didn't do any closing captions, so I maybe I should do that. So sorry to the coaches. Now you can say something dumb.
Hi, I play Pokemon.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Okay.